Marvel's Avengers, arguably one of the most successful film and comic book franchise. But Marvel is no strangers to video games. We've had multiple Marvel video games over the span of years, starting all the way back with the Atari 2600 with Spider-Man to the PS5 with Miles Morales' Spider-Man. Kind of a little bit of a turnaround, if you may, just coming back full circle. Some of these good, and some of these some with ongoing development that keeps on developing and keeps on being bad, that I'm surprised it's still alive. Some promising content on time. But no, what about Marvel's Avengers? Shh. All in due time, my sweet prince or princess, I don't know. You could be both, I don't fucking know. Let's take a look back to where it all started. For this train wreck of a game. The Avengers project was first announced on January 26, 2017. It was revealed that this would be an action role-playing brawler being developed by Crystal Dynamics, a European subsidiary of Square Enix. 2 years later in 2019, Square hosted a press conference that shared more detail on the game, including a full 14-minute trailer and release date. The 14-minute presentation showcased a trailer made from in-game footage, a brief description of the gameplay including characters, multiplayer, and customization, and a preview of the actors behind the game. There was also a playable demo available to floor attendees behind closed doors, which is a very suspicious thing to do, and if I recall correctly, there was another game that did this. And it didn't turn out well. What was that game again? Oh, Why did Marvel's Avengers fail? Aside from the many content and gameplay enhancements the developers promised, the game was also filled with its fair share of bugs and glitches. Some of these are of the gameplay breaking variety. Some glitches can fuck your entire play session up. But before we dive deep into content, bugs, and drama surrounding the game, we should focus on the story and the overall value of the game. The story of Marvel's Avengers takes place on A-Day, where people from all around the globe come to celebrate the Avengers. During this, we meet our main character for the story, Kamala Khan. The first 30 minutes to an hour or so has you playing as only her, and some of the Avengers, but 85% just her. You walk around as her for a while collecting comic books and fangirling over the Avengers. Oh, I also forgot to mention she won a fan fiction competition, which is the cheesiest and most unbelievable shit ever, but you know what, we're just gonna roll with it because it's a video game. After this, something happens on the helicarrier that causes a ripple to happen and gives everyone in the vicinity superpowers, making them inhuman. After A-Day, you start to actually play the game as Kamala Khan. This wouldn't be a bad thing, but her powers are very boring. Like, I get it, she's supposed to be representing a certain demographic, but could you at least have given her some better moves or something? For fuck's sakes, man. Most of the things that she can do isn't that special compared to someone like Thor or fuck it, even Black Widow. Just try giving her something more than her ultimate, and her abilities being that she can stretch and get fucking bigger. Give me something more than that! I know this is her power, but for this game, you could have taken some creative liberties and spice it up a little bit with her. It's very boring and really boils down the core combat of the game. People online have praised the story of the game, but to be honest, it's okay. It's not that good, but it's not terrible either. Like, it's fine. It's fine. Like, yeah, it has its movie moments, like the scene with Bruce and Kamala in the van, but aside from that, this game's story isn't any better than Age of Ultron. Can't believe I said that. Oh my god, people are mad. It's better than Thor Dark World, and that's not saying much. Overall, the story's fine, I'll give it a 7. But the main complaint for this game, for me personally, was its repetitive nature. And I know the internet has dogged on this shit, but I want to keep going. Yeah, the combat is good, but it's not DMC5 good. In that game, you can pull off so many different combos and look fucking cool. But in this game, all essence of cool has been flushed down the toilet and replaced with spam the same attack button over and over again, or Fuck it. Shoot the flying enemies over and over again! The combos this game provides aren't cool. They may seem cool, but underneath, these combos are the same thing over and over again. You can argue that DMC5 has repetitive combos too. But in this game, you have different ways of approaching a fight and dealing with enemies in the form of different weapons or devil breakers. In that game, you can pull off the most basics of combos and still look cool. In Marvel's Avengers, the most basic combo makes your character look like stock animation. That's not to say that these characters have zero animations, but you can clearly tell that corners were cut for most of them. This is Crystal Dynamics, the people behind Lara Croft, the remake. Reboot. I am terribly sorry about that. I know game development is hard, and animation is a monumental task, but please, don't give me the same punching animation of fucking Kamala punching the same guy over again! With that being said, the characters all look okay. Nothing too different than from their movie counterparts or their comic counterparts. If anything, they were trying to emulate them a bit too much. Now, on the topic of them looking similar to their MCU counterparts, that's obviously a good decision to make because people will want to play your game more if your main character looks like Tony Stark or Robert Downey Jr. in this case, and people would play your game more if you play Steve Rogers. I forgot his name, Chris Evans. But this is also bad because it makes everything seem off. Like, I get it. Getting the likeness to their MCU counterparts will cost a hell of a lot of money. But if you're making a Marvel game, you should probably go all out. I don't want to be playing Diet Robert Downey Jr. On the topic of that, I think it's just how amazingly portrayed these characters were in the movies by the actors and the actresses that played them. Like, I can only think of Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, or Mark Ruffalo as Bruce Banner. That's just how good how good they were for their roles. Like, they were born for them. Crystal Dynamics also had a change of appearances for the models of their faces a few times to make them look a little bit better, and this could have been a contributing factor to the game getting delayed, or why focus shifted away from certain, events or contents that were promised in the roadmap. Those got delayed too. Oh, and also a small pandemic that happened around the world. It's no fucking biggie. Overall, the character designs look okay, but nothing to write home about. I can take an example of this is with Spider-Man for the PS4. Obviously, they changed him and made him look a little bit different now than his PS5 counterpart. We're not going to talk about that. But with the PS4 counterpart, they've actually got a good mix of all the other actors. Like, I don't see any of the other actors as in this Spider-Man. Like, it's just his own thing, which is pretty cool. But with the Marvel's Avengers ones, I kinda do see the similarities between them, but they just seem a little bit off. The entire game is just okay to me at best. Like, it has its very shitty moments, I can assure you of that, but overall the game is very generic. In both its structure and its mechanics.
I'd run if I were you.
It's a live service game minus the service, or minus the live service. It's not Anthem, but I bet you Crystal Dynamics wants it to be Anthem so they don't have to put up with this shit anymore. Let's talk about the Avengers roadmap. A lot of games that have released unfinished eventually get a roadmap to make up for the lack of content by showing us content that may potentially get delayed or will potentially leak your IP address in the future. Who knows? I mean, come on. Oh, don't you worry. They'll add a new outfit to the game before they can fix the IP address problem. Or how about adding in a boss that could get one-shotted? Yeah, you heard me. A fucking boss that can get one-shotted.
I've had enough of your meddling. I'm ending this here and now.
Our shields are down. Focus your attack.
This game had so much potential. It was based off of an already successful IP and people expected more of it, and rightfully so. The game kept promising more and more but ended up delivering less. I hope this game can pull a No Man's Sky and come back, but it's looking very unlikely. Games like these need to stop coming out earlier than what they're supposed to. Same thing happened to Cyberpunk, and that ended up being a complete glitch fest to this day! There is 60 years worth of lore to these characters, and they managed to make the most boring, repetitive superhero game ever.
Y'all just have to understand why this is so frustrating for me, man. Like I said, this is a mode that I do not believe should even be on the game. When you consider, not even the patch knows what Megan Marie said in the Reddit, that you had the Elite Heroic Hive, right? You have the Elite Heroic Hive, and then they add this new stuff. Both of these are single player, and they're saying that's where the exotic drops are at. I don't know what the logic was. We know that the AIM Secret Lab stuff is coming, but for whatever reason, why you didn't add this to be, or have this be, multiplayer, when you already have, 14 levels? Elite Heroic Hive makes absolutely no sense. And then when I'm playing it, it's broke, right? I'm on the 6th floor, can't do nothing because the enemies don't pop up. I'm gonna restart it one more time, reload the checkpoint one more time, and so the mode's jacked. Like, what was I would love to know the thought process between hiding your best gear on an online multiplayer RPG, hiding your best gear behind a single player, and it just frustrates me because the issue that we're dealing with isn't necessarily connected to it, but it kind of is, because I will be more inclined to play this. You know what I'm saying? Like, wipe. All right, bet. All 6 floors. I've been playing for the last 45 minutes or whatever. All 6 floors, that's fine. Wipe. Well, you know, if I was playing with my bros, it'd be fine. But you're not even giving me the option because for whatever reason, you painted yourself in the corner trying to cater to people that only want to play this game as a single player, like it's, I don't know, Ultimate Alliance or something like that. I don't get it, man. And it just, my frustration just increases, man, because I'm sitting there being forced to play this. Not necessarily forced, there's obviously other things that I can do, but you know what I'm saying, the best gear is hidden behind this. Is the latest thing that they add on the game in combination with the patch. And then I'm playing it, and I'm gonna beat all these guys, and it's gonna glitch out on me. Once we defeat the last guy, only to be just stuck on the damn 6th floor. The last stage of a single player mode that shouldn't even be on the game. Crystal Dynamics, it was a boneheaded decision to do that, man. Boneheaded decision. I don't know who. Look, at some point, and I'm gonna end on this on a serious note. At some point, you have got to understand the strength, the uniqueness of this game. And it's not the fact that it's single player, okay? It's not the fact that it's single player. It's the fact that you treated it like it was an online RPG. So while you can play certain things in companion AI, you said on your day one blog, bro, you said on your day one blog, man, that was the focus, the online multiplayer element. And you're throwing modes in here, hiding the best gear behind it, and then it don't even work.
I will give them the benefit of the doubt since they had to work from home and some people rely heavily on studio resources.
Commencing program education. Authentication on hold.
I don't even know what to say to this. I don't even know what to say to this.
It only took them a few months to add a ping system to Avengers that makes the AI do what you want it to do.
Who's gonna do it? Ms. Marvel gonna smash the door. 10 out of 10 game of the year.
How was this not in the game, for fuck's sake? Or have invisible walls that won't let you jump high. Like, this shit is not finished. But $14 for a skin like this? It's just a reskin without his faceplate on. Plus, I remember when skins got eaten. You guys remember when you would buy a skin and then the fucking store would just eat it up, just munch it up.
So I'm mad now. Dude, the game ate another one of my fucking skins. I just know, I was looking through, I was like, oh yeah, looking at this. And it ate my gunmetal Iron Man skin, which is my other favorite skin. So now it's officially taking a skin I like. It just ate another skin! Right before my eyes! It took my campaign skin.
Marvel's Avengers is a walking corpse that doesn't know it's dead. I don't see any way this game will make a comeback, which sucks because this game could have been amazing. With the cast that they had, this could have been amazing. It could have been marvelous, even. I'm fucking done. I'm out. That's literally it. That's wow. I will never recover. That was perfect. But at the end of the day, this game ended up being a hard-boiled mess of a game that cost $60 on a lot of platforms. I need to mention this. It's still $60 on a lot of platforms, which... oh my god! I guess you could say that this game ended up being a marvel of a disappointment.